The air hung thick and heavy, saturated with the metallic tang of industrial cleaners and the low hum of fluorescent lights. The CarMax Colossus, a sprawling complex of steel and glass, loomed large, its vastness both impressive and oppressive. Rows upon rows of gleaming, identical cars stretched into the distance, a silent testament to mass production and consumerism. The only sound, the rhythmic hiss of pneumatic tools and the muffled commands from unseen supervisors echoing through the cavernous space. Within the belly of this metallic beast, thousands of technicians toiled, their movements robotic, their faces etched with a mixture of boredom and quiet desperation. Each day bled into the next, an endless cycle of inspecting, repairing, and reconditioning, all in the pursuit of achieving the elusive CarMax quality-certified stamp of approval. The pressure was immense, the consequences of failure dire. Technician 47C, or as the system knew him, Unit 47C, tightened the bolt on a 2024 Honda Accord, his movements practiced and precise. His mind, however, was far from the gleaming undercarriage before him. It drifted, as it often did, to a time before the Colossus, before the endless sea of silver sedans. He remembered a time when cars were more than just commodities, when they represented freedom, individuality, even joy. He recalled his father's pride as he painstakingly restored a vintage Mustang, the scent of oil and gasoline mingling with the summer air. He remembered the thrill of his first car, a beat-up Jeep, and the countless adventures it had carried him on. But those memories, like faded photographs, were becoming increasingly difficult to grasp, their edges blurred by the relentless monotony of his current reality. The shrill beep of his wristwatch snapped 47C back to the present. Break time. He joined the throng of technicians shuffling towards the break room, their faces illuminated by the cold blue glow of the data pads they clutched. He stepped outside, a rare luxury, and closed his eyes, feeling the weak warmth of the sun on his face. Above him, the sky was a hazy gray, the sun a distant pale disk. But even this meager offering from the natural world was enough to stir something deep within him, a longing for something more, something real. Something beyond the sterile confines of the Colossus. He yearned for the feel of the wind in his hair, the smell of rain on hot asphalt, the freedom of the open road. Section 4, The Cult of Carfax, where data trumps reality. Returning to his workstation, 47C felt the familiar weight of despair settle upon him. He picked up his datapad and scanned the details of his next assignment. A 2023 Tesla Model Y. The screen flashed, highlighting a minor paint flaw on the rear bumper. Protocol dictated he flag the flaw, which would trigger a series of time-consuming and often pointless bureaucratic procedures. He stared at the flaw, barely perceptible to the human eye. He knew instinctively that it was inconsequential, that it would have no impact on the car's performance or safety. But the Carfax system, the all-seeing, all-knowing deity of the Colossus, demanded absolute perfection. To question the system was not only discouraged, it was grounds for re-education. Section 5. The flaw. A crack in the facade. 47C hesitated, his finger hovering over the report flaw button. He knew the consequences of disobedience. He'd witnessed firsthand the fate of those who dared to deviate from the protocol. Yet a strange sense of defiance, a flicker of the man he once was, sparked within him. He looked at the floor, then back at the endless rows of identical cars, and made his choice. With a deep breath, he ignored the flaw and moved on to the next item on the checklist. As he worked, a strange sense of liberation washed over him. It was a small act of rebellion, a tiny crack in the facade of conformity, but in that moment, it felt like a victory. He knew the system would catch up with him eventually, but for now, he allowed himself a small, fleeting moment of triumph. He had chosen humanity over blind obedience. He had chosen to see the world, not through the cold, digital eyes of the Carfax system, but through his own.